Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, yeah, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically. One of your colleagues on another fake news station, ABC, said, do you guarantee 100% that a certain person is going to do a fantastic job as, let's say, Secretary of Defense, okay? Because that was the question. I said, what kind of a question is that? Do I guarantee 100%? Nobody guarantees 100%. But I will say this. I think we're going to have an economy the likes of which we've never had before. You know, my 4 years were phenomenal, as you know, the stock market. In fact, even though we had to go through the COVID thing, that horrible situation with COVID, we did numbers, and when I gave it over, when I handed it over, the election was rigged, and because of that, we have a lot of problems, by the way.
Dude, again, there he goes. He says the election was rigged. Is she going to push back? I bet you $100 she doesn't fucking push back. She's letting him on national TV in Meet the Press say that the election was rigged for the fucking 100,000th time with zero fucking proof, bro.
But when I handed it over, what happened? The market was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. Yeah. Nobody could believe it. The stock market I'm talking about.
I don't want to look back, but you did take your case to court about that.
Back.
You took your case to court about your allegations against the election. Let me ask you,
There's no question about it. The election was rigged. The facts are in, and
dude, she's like sort of trying to push back.
It's still being litigated. Let's go.
You did take your case to court more than 60 times and didn't win those cases.
I won a lot of court cases.
Just to button that up, though, sir. Just to
now he says I won a lot of court cases, dude.
Button that up.
What are you talking about?
How
the election
worried are you?
Are we talking about the election?
Let's talk about here and now. Let's talk about
the
here and now.
election of 2020.
Let's not talk about. Let's talk about here and now. Are you worried about a recession?
No.
Okay.
Dude, she let that fucking go, man. Dude, she let that shit go. She offered like the weakest possible pushback. He lied again, saying I won a bunch of cases, right? And she just literally let that shit go.
No, I think we're going to have the greatest economic...
I mean, are you worried it could happen? Do you think it could happen?
Anything can happen, but I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
See, the thing that's really f***ed up about these interviews, I see you guys in chat saying journalism is dead, is like, I don't understand why she goes out of her way to try and get him to like say there's gonna be a recession or we're gonna have supply chains interruptions, there's gonna be empty shelves or there's not gonna be empty shelves, because realistically this motherfucker lies. He has lied about so many things, including the election is rigged. They never push back, right? Even if she gets him to admit something, we know he's going to flip it, you know, to his advantage somewhere down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like literally there's no point in trying to get a gotcha moment from him. And in fact, like these interviews should be designed to fucking break him the way Kamala Harris did in the debate. Okay? They should be like showing his weaknesses. They should be fucking showing his weaknesses, showing how unstable he is, showing how unreliable he is. You know what I mean? It's so annoying, bro.
Let's talk about deportations. Border crossings are at their lowest level ever recorded. Is the border...
Is that good?
Is the border now secure?
Yeah, it's really secure.
It's absolutely
isn't that good?
secure.
When you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After being abused for years by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world.
Even right there, after all his lies, she just like spoon-fed him this like victory right there. She spoon-fed him a fucking, oh, you're so victorious. Oh. But like the reality is he's defying a 9-0 Supreme Court order. Right? Yeah, no, this isn't journalism. I know she was smirking, smiling. Hey, I delivered to you. Dude, these people are not, it is not Woodward and Bernstein, guys. We're being set up. We are being like they're literally just handing us to, you know what I mean? It's like these guys are wolves and they're smearing blood on us and pushing us right out in front of them, man.
Insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
Well, I'm curious to know what it means. You declared a national emergency on the southern border. The order is still in place.
By the way,
even though you're saying
exactly
the border's
what you
secure.
said. It means we have the most secure border we've ever had.
Well, and I guess the question
the question becomes, why is there a national emergency? And why are you using a wartime statute called the Alien Enemies Act to deport people if we have the most secure border in the history of border? That's weird.
becomes, when will you know that the emergency is over? Are you planning to lift it at some point? Is it necessary? Because obviously the military is involved. Will you lift that emergency?
Well, the biggest emergency is the courts aren't allowing us to take really.
We're going to talk about that, but talk to me first about this.
That's to me the emergency.
Talk to me first about this.
The border
emergency.
now is not the emergency. The border is it's all part of the same thing now. The big emergency right now is that we have thousands of people that we want to take out, and we have some judges that want everybody to go to
Some
court.
of them you appointed, sir, including three on the Supreme Court.
They change. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how that happens.
Unbelievable.
But they do change.
Just to button this up, though, are you planning to...
Yeah, I know a judge did shut that down because it's clear we're not at war, and he's walking around bragging, dude, safest border we've ever had in history. So, like, well, guess what, guys? You're not going to be able to fucking use a wartime statute to remove people while you're simultaneously saying there's no border problem at all, right? There would need to be an invasion in order to use the Wartime Act.
To lift that emergency order anytime soon, now that the border's secure.
We have an emergency. We have a massive emergency overall. It's an overall emergency on immigration. And if the courts don't allow us to take people out, if we had to have a court case, think of it, every single person, we have millions of people. We're going to have millions of court cases. Figure 2 weeks a court case, it would be 300 years.
So let's...
Yeah, but again, though, doesn't matter, right? We have a thing called the law there, bro. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. You have to follow the law, right? If you want to do it faster, you need more judges, you need more lawyers, you need more courtrooms, you need more infrastructure. You're welcome to do that, okay? And yes, dude, the border bill he killed would have absolutely funded a lot more of that shit. But you don't get to just throw the Constitution in the trash because you're in a hurry to get there.
Let's talk about this because obviously you've had a back and forth with the Supreme Court. In a 9-0 decision, the Supreme Court directed your administration to facilitate the return. You've talked about this in the past of 𝗙𝗪𝗪 𝗪𝒂𝗪 from a prison in El Salvador whose deportation your administration called an administrative error. You said in a recent interview you could bring him back, but you won't. Are you defying the Supreme Court, sir?
No, I'm relying on the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, who's very capable, doing a great job, because I'm not involved in the legality or the illegality. I have lawyers to do that, and that's why I have a great DOJ. We have a great one. We had a very corrupt one before. Now we have a great one. And they're not viewing the decision the way you said it. They don't view it that way at all. They think it's a totally different decision.
Well, you say you have the power to bring him back, though. Your attorney general says, quote, that's up to El Salvador. Just to put a fine point on this, do you have the power to bring 𝗪𝒂𝗪 back as the Supreme Court?
Well, I have the power to ask for him to come back if I'm instructed by the Attorney General that it's legal to do so. But
you see what he's doing there? So he has a corrupt DOJ, Pam Bondi. So the order comes in from the Supreme Court saying you need to bring him back. His Attorney General says, well, that's not what the order says. The order says you don't have to bring him back. And he's like, well, the Attorney General says that Supreme Court decision means something else. So I don't know, like, I can't do anything. It's the Attorney General that fucking does that. Dude, it's insane, bro. Like, you know what I mean? They're never going to be able to hold him accountable for anything because Pam Bondi can literally just say, oh, no, this says something else, right? Dude, lock him up. Lock them all up, dude. Fucking guillotine city.
But the decision as to whether or not he should come back will be the head of El Salvador. He's a very capable man.
Well, you know, and your attorney general has said the issue is with that word facilitate. Will you seek clarification from the Supreme Court? Do you need to go back to the Supreme Court?
We may do that. I was asking about that. We may do that.
And this is the point, sir, about due process. The Constitution says every person, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Why not push to have him come back, present all of that evidence in court, let a judge decide?
Well, I'll leave that to the lawyers and I'll leave that to the Attorney General of the United States because they're in it. You have to understand. I'm dealing with Russia and Ukraine. I'm dealing
and we're
with
going to talk about that.
I'm dealing with Iran. I'm dealing with Rwanda and Congo, who are fighting, and we're trying to get that one straightened out. And I think we have done that. Did a great job. Nobody even talks about it, but I think we're close to doing that. They're looking like they're going to maybe make a peace deal, which would be good. But I'm dealing with a lot of different things. I don't know much about this gentleman other than I hear he's an absolute not good person. And I have very capable legal people, John Sauer, as you know, and all top people. And I have to rely on that to interpret whatever's said by the Supreme Court. Now, with that being said, I have tremendous respect for the Supreme Court. Look, 3 of the people are people I appointed.
Right.
And I have great respect for the Supreme Court. And I would expect that the Attorney General will be doing the right thing.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well,
dude, do you agree? You give an answer. I don't know is what he says. That's what our president is. The guy who swore an oath to the Constitution is trying to say, I don't know if I agree or disagree. I don't know what our Constitution says. There's no fucking way if she lets him go beyond this interview, which obviously she does. It's 29 minutes in. We're at the halfway point. A supposed journalist in America is going to have an interview with the guy who took an oath to defend us, to defend the Constitution. And she is going to let him say, I don't know what this thing means that I'm supposed to defend. Right? What the fuck are we doing, bro? What the fuck are we doing? What world are we living in? What sweet fucking hell are we living in?
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. But some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said.
Don't you have to uphold the Constitution? I don't know is his answer.
They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia to the United States?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the Attorney General that question.
Okay.
And you're right. She may as well not be there. She's not pushing back. I mean, dude, it's fucking pissing me off. Right? Once she let him go, there were 2 ways she let him go. One was with the election rigging, right? No pushback whatsoever. And then the last one where she literally said, do you have to obey the Constitution? Do you have to uphold the Constitution? And he says, I don't know. And she's like, all right, moving on. Dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, any reporter that was worth a salt would still be on those 2 questions. Like, pressing him for a legitimate admit that you lost that election. You have show me the proof right now. Or admit you lost that election. And it is literally your job to uphold the Constitution, right? Get your lawyer in here right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, she is like normalizing it. She is, even in some cases, she's like leading the horse to water. You know what I mean? She's like setting him up to have the little victory, even with their little smile, right? Dude, she is not a reporter, dude. This is terrible. You know what it is? It's what I was tweeting during this. I tweeted because I tagged her in the tweet too, because at that point you realize that we're getting set up. Okay, we're getting set up. Kristen Welker is she's making millions. Okay, she's wealthy. She is protected. She is insulated. When the economy gets ravaged and crashes, she's fine. She's fine. Her kids are fine. Her kids are fine. She is in a completely protected fucking set. And she's literally just setting the rest of us up and working to get a couple fucking whatever points so they can create some content and engender more fear and more division and more like uncertainty for the rest of us. And then they're just going to fucking sit there and hit that cash register. You know what I'm saying? What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.